What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So, Joyce, the juggernaut, he says he agrees with Tyson Fury that Anthony Joshua doesn't deserve to fight for Undisputed. Now, Joe's only giving his opinion, right? He has the right to his opinion, right? But I will say, I smell jealousy and hypocrisy all over those words. Now, let me explain how. So, first off, for Joyce, if he got that phone call saying, "Hey, Joe, listen, we want to fly you out to Saudi Arabia. We want to offer you $50 million to fight Anthony Joshua. The winner between you two are going to fight for Undisputed. So whether it's Usyk or Fury, that's the next fight." Joyce would take that offer. I know he'd take that offer. Joyce would be a bold-faced liar to say that he wouldn't. But see, this is what Joyce wouldn't say. Well, I appreciate the offer, but I just got beat twice by Zhang, and I don't feel like I deserve that. Yeah, so you could take the $50 million and the opportunity to fight for Undisputed and give it to someone more deserving than myself. But hey, I thank you. Maybe you could put me on the undercard against someone else. Yeah, because I don't think I deserve that. No, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't turn that $50 million down, and he would not turn down the right to fight for Undisputed, even though he just got knocked out. Okay, got beat twice by Joyce. No, he wouldn't do that. So that's hypocritical, and it's jealousy there. He lost to Anthony Joshua in the amateurs as well. And before that question, he was asked about, does it make him feel some kind of way to see basically Joseph Parker fighting for bigger and better things, but Joyce is beating him? He goes, well, I mean, hey, I could have been Olympic gold medalist, right? I could have been world champion, this and that. He says, things happen, right? You just got to kind of move on. Life just goes that way. But he didn't have that same type of energy with Anthony Joshua's situation. And he pretty much had much of nothing to say about Ngannou. Okay, now, if anybody don't deserve to fight for Undisputed, it's Ngannou. It's Ngannou. He skipped the line, and pretty much he finds himself in his second fight leading up to his only third fight being for Undisputed if he was to win. Not to mention, if this was a fight that went to 10 rounds, people would be highly impressed because this would be the two times he fought against a top level heavyweight and survived the 10 rounds. And I'm willing to bet you, they'd be saying, you know what, he wants Wilder next. Did Francis Ngannou earn these shots? Well, here's my thing. With Anthony Joshua losing and then fighting his way back and having that fight that he needed to turn heads, that's what boxing is about. How many times have we seen champions go through that? They look bad, they lose a fight or two. I mean, Shane Mosley's a perfect example of that. This dude was losing back-to-back fights. Vernon Forrest, Winky Wright, Miguel Cotto. He's losing fights to guys, but he comes back and then he's right back in a position to fight for a title again. Okay, star power has a lot to do with everything. But AJ looked good in his last fight. The other fights, he won. He did enough to win. He was tentative, but he won. And my thing was, okay, he won and shut Jermaine Franklin out. He went in there against Robert Helenius, got him out of there in the 8th. It was a bit of a little scrap back and forth. Helenius was mostly on the back foot, not really committing too much. But at the end of the day, he won, and that's what mattered. So against Wallin, he comes out and looks really good. Now, that is enough to get the juices back on with people talking about AJ again. Well, Joseph Parker and Zhang, listen. Zhang did not earn Undisputed because he beat Joe Joyce. He deserved to be put higher in the rankings. And my thing was with Zhang, if you're going to have voluntary title defenses, why not fight Zhang? Yeah, that's my point. He proved himself to be a top-level guy by beating Joyce twice like that. But in terms of Undisputed, no, he didn't do anything to deserve Undisputed. Joseph Parker, in my opinion, should be the guy fighting Anthony Joshua instead of Ngannou. But Ngannou is a bigger money fight. That's something you have to talk to the Saudis about. That's who you have to talk to about that. I wouldn't blame Joseph Parker for wanting to take that fight. I wouldn't blame Joe Joyce for wanting to take that fight. But that's what I'm saying. That's hypocritical, and there's some jealousy there. You know, Zhang made the same or similar comment, not about Anthony Joshua not deserving Undisputed or whatever. I don't know if he made that comment in a separate video or something that I didn't see. I don't know. But this particular video I'm talking about, where Zhang made the comment saying, you know, Eddie Hearn won't let Anthony Joshua fight him. He's trying to put his name in the ad. I get all of that. But at the same time, he says that, and then he goes, well, I mean, if I was offered to fight Zhang, you know, had the same deal for that kind of money, I'd do it too. So so you can't say anything. There's no but, just stop. Because that's what this sport is. It's prize fighting. You know? So, yeah, Zhang made that comment. And you got to understand, none of these guys has AJ's popularity. And we're talking about a former two-time champion. So you can't bring up Joe Joyce holding, Joseph Parker holding the belt one time, who Anthony Joshua took from him. And that's what people are overlooking. The same people you're talking about. AJ already holds victories over them. He beat Zhang in the amateurs. He beat Joe Joyce in the amateurs. He beat Parker in the pros. This is like, you understand what I mean? So it's like the names you're saying, well, what have they been doing? Because in Anthony Joshua got talked about more for losing to Usyk and not looking the same than all of those fighters we named got talked about for winning. Even for Zhang to beat Joyce like he did was like, whoa, people thought the first fight was a fluke. Second time they know, nah. And I didn't think the first fight was a fluke either. But a lot of people, oh man, if you see Zhang was starting to get tired and Parker was starting to, and Joyce was starting to do this, and they always use their imaginations. Zhang said, oh man, Tyson was starting to connect on Holyfield right before he bit him. Right, that make a lot of sense. I'm connecting, I'm hurting him, I'm getting to him, now let me bite him. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's always what would have happened if this, if that. Rematch comes, yeah, so what happened? Okay, and he went to bed early. So, to say that Parker and Zhang should be in that spot, no. Because then you're skipping over Anthony Joshua just to say you think Parker should be there. No, how does Zhang get there though? He hasn't done enough to fight for Undisputed unless he was to become a mandatory. That's a sanctioning body thing. That has nothing to, that's the ranking systems. So, in terms of earning, no. Ngannou didn't earn his position where he is. He was given the opportunity. He was given the opportunity. Okay? So, even for example, right? For the people that think that Ngannou really beat Fury. So that gives the Saudis reason to understand, okay, he's still hot because he didn't get the decision, but most people feel like he won. He's still hot. Let's treat him as such, and let's put him in his fight with Anthony Joshua. You know, Eddie Hearn said he was the one that said, hey, they asked him, and he said, Ngannou, no doubt, Ngannou. Okay. Again, Ngannou was selected. Ngannou didn't earn shit. But he's there. Now, that being said, as far as Zhang goes, Zhang was impressive in his wins against, like, okay, put it to you this way. Zhang handling Joyc the way he did is more impressive to me than Ngannou going 10 rounds with a fat, out of shape Tyson Fury, who basically underestimated him, and I don't see Fury the same way as other people anyway. And that's why when you got the best fighting the best, more than likely all of them are going to have losses at some point because they're fighting the very best, as opposed to let me let this guy get a couple of losses, let me fight a bunch of meatballs and nobody care for me to see, and let me preach to people about how I'm a superstar and how it doesn't matter if I fight these guys or not because I'll beat them anyway. And then eventually, this guy's not looking so good. Okay, make a fight with him. And this is what they do. All right. Now, all that being said, for Joseph Parker wasn't looking so good. And then he just happened to get in there with Wilder. He did his thing. But I say, he won the fight. He should be in there against AJ. If you're looking at it from a boxing standpoint, if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, no. Not the Saudis. I don't have a problem with Parker being the opponent. I would rather see Parker versus AJ. I don't care for the Ngannou AJ fight. I don't. I don't care for Ngannou versus anybody at the top level. Now, if it just so happens that he holds his own, okay, so be it. But still, even given the opportunity, you still have to seize the moment and make the most of it. So he still has to go in there and perform. I give him a lot of credit for what he's done, but he still skipped the line. Okay, how long are we going to preach that shit? We know he skipped the line. And no, I'm not a fan of that. But at the same time, just understand. If you will open your mouth to say that a person don't deserve a certain position, yet you yourself didn't earn it, but if they give it to you, you take it, what's the purpose of even speaking on it? Like, you know what I mean? That is like something that you should never do. You should not sit up and speak against something that you yourself would actually do. Something that you yourself know. Deep down inside, it's a jealous factor. Because at the end of the day, like I said, the question he was asked before that, he didn't have a problem with. I mean, that's just the way things happen. You just got to kind of move on. But he agrees that AJ, not Ngannou, but AJ doesn't deserve. AJ doesn't deserve to fight for Undisputed. So, it is what it is, though. And good luck to him on his next fight. Salute to him. So, hopefully he can get this guy, whoever he is, out the way. So he can get back in there and start, fighting with top guys again. And see where he goes from here. Reality is, y'all, you hear a lot of talking in boxing. People in life just talk. They just say things all the time. But they get to a point where they wind up saying something, and people who agree with them today, very next interview, those same people could be going, wait a minute, but you just said such and such a thing last time. Now you're being a hypocrite, right? And of course, when people have a fan base, well, fans just talk rubbish. Whatever their favorite fighter is saying, that's what they support. But I just smell jealousy all over that. I really do. And that's why I always say, when people say, I wouldn't fight this person, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that. I know, you always hear it, but then what ends up happening? Like, Regis Prograis said he would never fight Rolly Romero. That guy's, man, I would never fight Rolly, right? He said Rolly Romero is not even a good fighter. It's an insult to him to even be mentioned in the same breath with Rolly Romero. I would never fight Rolly. Come on, man. I would never fight that guy. Like that's a slap in my face. That's going backwards. I think the very next interview, he made a comment, and they were talking, and I guess he kind of forgot what he said, then go, well, you know what? Like, I mean, I know I said I wouldn't fight Rolly Romero, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't say I would never fight him, but you know what I'm saying? No, that's what you said last time. What do you mean you can't say you would never fight him? You said it already, right? So now you rethink it. Why? What if Rolly had a fight, looked good, What if it was one of them things where he just closes his eyes, threw a punch, and knocks somebody top level guy out? His stock goes up. Right? What happens now? You still wouldn't fight him? Of course you would. So, that being said, fighters always say one thing, then they turn around and say something else. So, my thing is when you are trying to find, and people don't understand this, it's like, for example, it's like when the Saudis are trying to, the Saudis put these cards together, right? People need to keep this in mind. The Saudis are not putting these cards together so much based on who fought who did what with the PBC, with Matchroom, with, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, different people involved. They can give their insight into how they think of fights, what fights they should, what would be good to put on a card. Maybe, certain fights they may not be aware of. Certain fighters, rather, I don't know if they are aware of all these fighters or not, but I'm pretty sure there's fighters that they don't really know. Okay, and so, yeah, Eddie, what do you think? Frank Warren, what do you think? Shelly Finkel, what do you think? And they try to get these guys to help where they can put the best cards together, even as a contact to reach out to talk to these people to see if they can get these fights on. Everybody on that card, okay, on Dead Reckoning, did Jarrell Miller do anything to earn a spot on Dead Reckoning? No. And they was trying to give him Derek Chisora. So did he earn that? So when you go and look at every fight is not based on ranking systems. That's not, no. The Saudis are just trying to make the best possible cards that they can. Let's try to get the top fighters from different divisions and put them in the ring and get the fight to happen. Look, it's what, today's the 23rd today, 24, whatever, okay. Bottom line, it's late January. The card is March 8th. The only two fights that we have right now that we know is for sure is AJ Ngannou, Parker, and Zhang. So we don't even know who's the undercard next to the main event and the co-main event. And I love the fact that they have a main event and a co-main event as well on these cards. So we don't even know who these people are going to be. Turkey already said he would love to get, Tank Davis and Devin Haney on the card. But, Tank want two Ferraris just to get him to come there. So otherwise, he has no interest. Yeah, he has no interest. But, so just saying, it's about making the best possible matchups. That's the thing. The Saudis just throwing politics out the window. They're trying to get the best. Like, for example, if we get Bivol versus Beterbiev, more than likely it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. It's not going to be in the States. Okay? So, where? What platform? You think about it. Who? Right? So, yeah, if anything, that's what it's going to be. So, I'll put it to you like this, y'all. Anytime somebody talks about certain fights and they go, oh, that's a good fight, one of the first things people overlook was these two people, or one out of the two people, deserving of that spot, even though you like the fight. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, for example, if you're a Caleb Plant fan and you go, and they say, okay, Caleb Plant versus Canelo 2. Oh, okay, now he gets a chance. Caleb didn't deserve another title shot. How? He just got beat by Benavidez in his last fight, right? So does he deserve it? But if you're a Caleb Plant fan and he gets a rematch, then you're going, oh yeah, see, that's what it is right there. That's the fight. See, Caleb's a good fighter, and if you look at the first fight, and then you're going to skip over the fact that he lost to Benavidez as well. He didn't deserve it. But let's say they wanted to get Benavidez on that card. I mean, Canelo on that card. I'm just saying. And then who can we get right now? And let's just say Canelo doesn't want to fight because if they said, well, Canelo's kind of a bad fighter to use because if they said Benavidez, he wouldn't do it. If they said Morrell, he wouldn't do it. Anyway, that's another topic for another video, but y'all get what I'm saying. Bottom line is if take the politics out of it, the whole, whatever. If let's just say if their choice was Caleb Plant and Canelo said, sure, no problem. Now, why would Caleb Plant be their choice over, Morrell or Benavidez anyway, right? But just saying, if that would be their choice, because if they don't give fighters choices, that's the whole point. They'll have someone in mind, and you can't say the first choice is the better choice. Why? I think, well, come on, Daniel Dubois beats the shit out of Derek Chisora, okay? But Derek Chisora is who they offered to Miller. And said if he didn't take it, then he was going to give it to Dubois. So Chisora's not better than Dubois. You understand what I mean? So they didn't go to the best choice first. They went to the least of the best choices. I don't know how they saw it. I don't know how they saw it, but, they went to Derek Chisora first. So that would be like them saying, okay, if you don't take the fight, if you don't want to fight him, or if Caleb don't take the fight, just say, for example, then we're going to offer it to Benavidez. We know Canelo don't want to fight Benavidez, but I'm just saying, for example, that's how that goes. If you turn it down, then we'll, because between the two, come on, Canelo's the star, right? So this is the star. We want him here. We want him. We just got to find a suitable opponent. And basically, they come up with whoever. Now it's up to Canelo or each fight, any one of them to say, okay, they want it. And look, at the end of the day, if you're going to choose and say, well, who's the star? Who's the main event? Right? Who are we using as the main selling point? Right? Who's the landlord of this card? That's what you got to understand. That is what you got to understand. It's to boxing fans. Yeah, Zhang and Parker, they get respect, but boxer fans will always have a debate on something. But to boxing fans, come on, man, stop. I remember somebody made a comment and said that Wilder and Parker should have been the main event. Of course Wilder said it, but they were saying that and talking about because of Wilder's resume. I'm like, his resume? That's when I just said, all right, I'm not even going to entertain this conversation. Because of his resume? Are you serious? Then, well, his star power, so now Wilder's a bigger star now than Joshua? What are you saying? So it's so much nonsense that people say that you just got to really look and understand. These people are just talking. They don't know what they're talking about. And then look at the performance that Wilder put up. So for him to say, we should be the main event, well, you should have went there and performed like you was in the main event. And you didn't even do that. You didn't even fight like you were in the co-main event. Your performance is like somebody who's in an opening fight. And due to this being, Day of Reckoning, where they was trying to put nothing but top-level fights on, you didn't. You looked terrible. Right? So saying we should be the main event, and okay, you got to go deliver. And the funny thing is, I'm reading different comments of who people think is going to win between Parker and Zhang. I've heard a few people say that Parker's going to outbox Zhang and surprise everybody. And then the rest of them are saying Parker's going to get beat down badly and torn to pieces. And we'll know come fight night. But that's just the way it is. So, yeah, Joe Joyce is agreeing with Lennox Lewis, and he sounds salty to me. He really does. And again, not because it's AJ. Personally, for me, I don't give a shit how you see AJ. Nothing personal on my behalf. Anyway, I like Joe Joyce as a fighter. Want to see him get back to winning if he can. But at the end of the day, I just don't respect when people shit on somebody for doing something or being in a certain position, but they wouldn't turn the position down. And you know why I can say what I'm saying too? Because I remember before I became a manager, I remember the position being offered to me. I turned it down because I said, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that, because the decision making, I want to make sure I'm on top of my game. I need more experience. And people, oh, man, that was me, I'd have took it. Well, it's not you, so shut the fuck up. And then what ends up happening is the person that was a manager, they retired. Super early retirement. But by this time, about a year and a half it went by, and I learned so much more than what I knew prior. Same way when the supervisor position was offered to me the first 3 times. Well, I turned it down 3 times because I didn't trust management, in this particular place. But yeah, I didn't trust what they wanted with me. I knew what they wanted, and I wasn't willing to do that. I just didn't trust them. And I eventually became supervisor there too. Another place, same thing, I was offered, and I just felt like I need more time. Because once I say yes, then it's all on me. I need to know what I'm doing. I'm fine with learning on the job as long as I got the basics covered. The day-to-day, everyday operations, I know that. Once I know that, then, it's too many key things that I need to know that I don't know. And you don't have a qualified staff here to train me. That's just a fact. and they knew I knew what I was talking about. And I eventually became supervisor. So every position I've had, I didn't just get it. There was a process. It wasn't, oh, me, oh, yeah. Okay, now what do I do? No, and that was the thing. Where most people would have took it and failed. I was smart enough to understand now. Everything, the grass is not always greener. You might think so till you get there. And then I'm in a position where I'm making decisions that could affect people in a good or a bad way. And I need to know that I'm on point with what I'm doing. Big responsibility, right? So, okay then. So, I can say I didn't take those positions. I had my reasons. Then I took them later. You understand what I mean? When I was ready, and I knew I was ready. But other than that, come on, that would be like me saying, oh man, they want to hire you as a supervisor. All right, that's overrated, blah, blah, blah. Then that person decide, you know what, you're right though, man. And then all of a sudden, I'm gonna go try to put my name in the hat because I know that person don't want whatever. Like, none of that kind of shit. Don't talk down about something when you do it yourself, because that's hypocritical. And that's all I'm really saying about Joe Joyce. Tell me what y'all think about Joe Joyce's comments. Y'all think he's being salty, or he really genuinely somehow feels that way, that Parker and Zhang should be the main event? And it's crazy, right? Because he can say, well, I beat Joe Joyce. I beat Joseph Parker, right? And that's what the guy was asking him, to see him in that position after he's beaten him. But he didn't. But he ends up saying that Parker should be in that position. Him and Joyce. But AJ didn't. He forget AJ beat Parker? And AJ beat himself. You see what I'm saying? There's no material there. And the problem is, none of those guys stand alone. They just had good performances. But nobody's putting them at the top to say, nobody can beat Zhang. Nobody can beat Joseph Parker, right? Nobody's saying that about them. That's not what's there. It's just, okay, they had good performances. They are solid fighters, and we need to see them at the top level. Yes, but they don't stand out when you say, who's that guy? Who's that guy that you really feel can beat everybody? Right now, it's up in the air, to be honest with you. Because for me, looking at the way AJ looked, I'd have to go with AJ. I'd have to go with a guy like Frank Sanchez, who doesn't have the star power and the popularity right now. But guys like, so it's nobody that I look at and feel like nobody can beat AJ, or nobody can beat Fury, or nobody can beat Wilder, nobody can beat Park. None of them. I don't see any of them like that. I feel like any of them can lose. Again. Any of them. So it's up for grabs, man. And the whole point is, when the fights are made, we don't have to ask, because we get results, and then we know who the winner is. Talk to me about Joe Joyce. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.